No matter how high-tech, highfalutin, lazy, or foo-foo America gets, we will never stop hunting and fishing. This is the Hunting Quest. We take 1 hour of every week and talk about our favorite things in the world, hunting and fishing. You'll get tips and help on the fishing environment locally in the DMV area. Plus, we're going to have fun along the way. This is the Hunting Quest. And now your host, Mike Tippin and Bennett Malin.
Now we're back.
Yeah.
Gotta have some kind of audio issue with every podcast. I feel like it's our thing, you know? You gotta embrace it a little bit.
As long as you remember to hit record, you know, I think we're past that phase in our relationship.
Yeah. No, we don't forget that anymore. But so it's Friday night. Tonight we're joined with Mr. Kyle Doherty from Divebomb. Kyle, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Not a problem. Easy Friday night.
You say
God.
that. So you were in Missouri, right?
Yes. Yep. I'm at the headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri. So born and raised here and happy to be employed here.
Oh, there you go. That's Benny's world. So tonight Benny's going to lead a lot of this conversation.
I grew up just outside of St. Louis in St. Charles County, which is one of the reasons I wanted to reach out to you guys and have you on. And I like having the kind of the hometown team on. Makes it kind of fun.
I get outnumbered
Absolutely.
a lot.
Yeah, Mikey gets outnumbered a lot. So, Kyle, how did you? I guess let's back it up a little bit first. How did Divebomb get started? Kind of that backstory of where they started and where they are now.
Yeah. So it's actually a pretty cool story. And we just made a video a couple weeks ago, put out kind of an origin story on our YouTube that you can check out. But basically, you know, Cody grew up here. He's from this area and he was hunting not far from where I live now and where I grew up, and wasn't having the success chasing geese that he thought he should given the area. And so he just had the idea to go and take real pictures of live geese and put them on corrugated plastic. And so he did that, tried it, had some success, and thought he'd give it a shot. So he literally just threw them up on Craigslist and had a great response, sold them, doubled down, went to sell more. And the production, the second run was actually not to the quality he expected. So he was kind of going to just trash it and move on with his life, and got some words of wisdom to try it one more time. And when they came back in, they were the right ones. And that was the V2 in its infancy, which is now like our bread and butter. And that was, I think it was actually established in 2011, but that process probably started a couple of years before that. And it took off, and Cody's he's aggressive, he's tenacious, hungry for growth, and so that kind of led to this rapid growth that the industry saw with Divebomb. I mean, going from, you know, little garage startup to where we're at now. So basically that's kind of what got it started. And the majority of the growth has probably been the last 5 or 6 years is really where Divebomb kind of blew up in the industry.
I say it seems like recently Divebomb really just came into the scene hard. Like overnight, boom, everyone knows who Divebomb is. And it really is, I think, started, you know, with the V2s and then everything you guys are breaking into now with the different clothing stuff. And I know I rock one of the gun cases and absolutely love that thing. I saw it for the first time, it was last year. One of my buddies had it out in Kansas, and I was like, dude, that is like the exact gun case I've been looking for. Like, where did you get that? And he's like, oh, it's Divebomb, dude. Their stuff's awesome. I was like, oh, hell yeah. All right. Got back home and ordered one, and yeah, I've been rocking that thing ever since.
Yeah, it's a funny gun case story actually. That's I'm in the showroom every day, and we actually had last season we had some guys come in that were hunting just north of St. Louis, on one of the lakes up there, and they actually had a catastrophic issue with their boat, and their boat sank, and they were able to run it close enough to the shore that they could get out and make it to shore, but they were using all their guns were in our gun cases, because they actually are like truly waterproof. The guns were floating, so they were able to recover their guns and bring their guns back. They obviously had to wait and get a tow company out to salvage the boat. But he was like, "Yeah, it was crazy. All our guns are just sitting there floating, and we brought them back to the bank with us." So I was like, "All right, that's cool. I like that."
I say, and along with the cases, you guys have all kinds of other bags too, right? Backpacks and
Oh
shell
yeah,
pouches
full
and all
full
kinds of
dry
stuff.
line. Yeah, blind bags, backpacks, duffels. We've got some new dry line stuff coming out. So like the mini duffel, XL duffel, a little grab bag that in itself is pretty simple, but the attachment capability it has to our backpack is going to make the backpack even better than what it was. And the shell pouch, which is a simple product but crazy popular. It's like we can't seem to keep those things in stock any time of the year, but especially not now with hunting season coming up so quick. But yeah, the dry line's been a really good line. It just works. I mean, period. That's why people keep buying it. It's actually popular in a lot of industries that aren't even hunting related. We get a lot of people in store that are kayakers, mountain bikers, just no matter what you do for fun, nobody likes their stuff getting muddy or wet. So that dry line's a great addition to any outdoor hobbyist.
So
Absolutely.
I'll tell you two things, and then obviously, you got probably one of the coolest logos on the planet. I love the logo. I think that by far, it's. I mean, how do you not like that? It's so cool. So that's it's a very recognizable brand, because of your logo and because of but the quality itself is phenomenal. And what I was going to say is kind of one of my own personal stories is this past season. I have one of your shotgun cases as well, and I'm sitting there. It was a whole story, but I wound up in 500 yards of nothing but mud, and then finally hit open water, open my case up. When I get to the duck blind, open it up. My Beretta looked perfect, shot perfect, and I hit a pintail. I was stoked. And so your products, whether I'm no paid advertisement here, but phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And they do float because it fell out of the kayak. So
Yes, yeah, that's a key feature.
yes, big time. You get idiots like me, they just fall out of kayak. So perfect.
I say my favorite thing, because growing up duck hunting in Missouri and the corn impoundments and whatnot, always had the, Cabela's dry bag or floating gun case, whatever it is, and they're that like soft vinyl stuff on the inside. And running a semi-auto and guiding on the weekends now, dude, I was going through like a case a season with those like soft-sided bags. That dive bomb case, I thrashed that thing last season, and it's brand new. Take a hose at the end of the season, hose it off, and put it away, and it's great.
Yeah, they I mean, it's my daily case. I keep my hunting guns in them. I have a competition shotgun that stays in it. I mean, it's can't beat the case. You really can't. Now we've added some updates to our latest batch. So um, we have desiccant packets now that come in the cases. Um, just because I guess the only downfall of being totally sealed and waterproof is when you move from hot to cold, cold to hot environments, you can get some condensation. And so we put those desiccant packets in there to handle the condensation, and you can recharge them. I mean, once they start to there's a little indicator. Once they start to change color, you just microwave them, and it's good to go again.
That's cool.
That's
That's
really
so
cool.
cool.
So, Kyle, how did you get started with dive bomb?
So actually, Cody and I, obviously growing up in the same area, having the same hobbies. Cody and I had some mutual friends that we didn't know about, and I knew of Dive Bomb at my last job. I mean, I've hunted. This will be my 14th season duck hunting or so. So I've hunted a while. Um, I was familiar with the company. And I actually met Cody at a pigeon shoot, and through a mutual friend. And I was wearing a white hoodie at the time. It was February, and it was freezing cold. It was one of those days a few years back where it was like the high was 2 or 3 degrees, and there was one little fire pit burning in this machine shed. And so everybody would go out and shoot their birds, and then they'd come back in and just like huddle around the fire pit. And I was wearing a white hoodie, and Cody asked me if I was getting ready for snow season, which I wasn't, because my job at the time kind of ramped up then, so I didn't get to do much snow hunting. And so we talked a little bit about what I did, and I remember we exchanged information, and kind of jokingly, we were just like, okay, well, if something comes up, we'll see. And probably 6 weeks later, I was going into HQ for some interviews and had a phone interview with Asher. And a couple weeks later, had a final interview after that. And it still wasn't a done deal. And then probably about 2 weeks later, I was on the road in Mississippi, and Cody shot me a text and said, when can you start? I was like, okay, here we go. We're actually doing this. So it's just a crazy, informal, kind of one of those small world moments, but paid off tremendously for me, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cool story. That's way cooler than the like, oh, they interviewed 500 people and I got lucky and got the job.
So, it's an amazing story. What's your role? What is your role within divebomb? Tell folks, what
so
you do.
I am I'm the customer service manager at divebomb, and then I also handle our corporate relations side, but obviously the general customer doesn't see that as much. So my title is customer service manager, and I help out with a few other things. But I mean, divebomb is an interesting work environment because it's very collaborative,
That's cool.
It's really cool to do because, for me, it keeps it interesting because I don't feel like I'm stuck in the same groove every day. Like I can do different things, but B, I think it makes us a lot more efficient as a team because it's growing and it's departmentalizing because of growth. But at the same time, everyone within those departments communicates so well that you still feel like you still get that small family business feel, but then the departments can scale and grow with the growth of the company. So it's a cool atmosphere. So customer service is mainly what I do, but obviously everybody helps out wherever they can, throughout the day.
For sure. It takes a family, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to ask a different question. Obviously you're around all this gear, and I assume that you use it all. Obviously you've kind of told us a little bit about that. What's one product? Just one. If you could only, if they open it up and says you can have any product that you want, but you can only have one, what is it? What are you going to?
Man, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That
you didn't
is
think you'd
tough.
get easy questions, would you?
No, just heavy hitters right off the bat.
Yeah, you warmed up. It's good.
One product. Cody might kill me for this, but honestly, I might say the torch. I'm gonna be honest with you. Our torch headlamp, for what it costs, I mean, you're getting such a high quality product, super well thought out, well designed, and the uses are like limitless. Plus, it's a light. I mean, how many times have you been anywhere and didn't have a light and you're just cussing everything? I mean, It could be hunting, it could be a power outage at the house, a flat on the side of the road. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in years back I would have killed to have a light like that. And I mean, I tell people all the time when they ask about that light, they're like, is it really that good? And I'm like, I know it's going to sound biased because I work here, but like that truly is the best bang for your buck. Yeah, I love that thing. So
yeah,
maybe it's not our flagship product. Sorry, Cody, but it is a badass light.
Well, I think it's good. I don't think he'll come down too hard on you in the fact that, it's an honest opinion, and I think it's one that a lot of people share. I've got one. I'm a super fan of it. I've had it stolen like 3 times from me from people in the blinds. And then, eventually I have to go find it in their truck, and I'm grabbing it out, getting my, I put my, I put my initials in there, and, the whole 9 yards. It's like, no, you only take it if I like, it's not going to happen. So it's a good
I have
product.
it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Benny.
So of all the everyone on Instagram sees the crazy hunts videos that Dive Bomb's putting out of shooting mallards in a stream that's 2 foot wide and all this craziness and this, that, and the other. Of those trips, any of them that you've been on, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite just hunt in general? Doesn't have to necessarily be a Dive Bomb video, but what's your favorite hunt that you can remember?
My favorite hunt that we've done that I was at, we went to Ranchland last year, and it's unlike anything you could imagine. I tell people that you can't even do it justice, like trying to describe it. It's just one of those things you have to experience. And Rob's whole crew is top notch, and the hunting up there is phenomenal. But that being said, if I had to pick one so far that's been my favorite, it's the hunt that we did at Cody's place, which is not far from St. Louis, just north of St. Louis. And it was a late season snow shoot. And we were basically in the last couple days of having some snows around. And we had just gradually watched week by week, day by day, all these birds filter out and not come back. And so we put a last ditch effort together, had a bunch of guns. I think we had 9 or 10 guys, and we ended up shooting over 100 snows. And it was one of those things that you kind of threw together at the last minute and had all these guys show up. And then you're sitting there setting up and you're like, man, I hope this isn't a dud,
Yeah.
And then they just did it. I mean,
Yep.
we didn't have the perfect weather. The weather actually shifted on us while we were setting up, and our first setup did not work. The birds didn't want it, and we picked that up pretty quick. And we made like 2 or 3 quick adjustments, and then we couldn't keep them off of us. And it was just like that kind of like last minute. You're there with all your buddies. We're at a place that we didn't really expect to be shooting this many snows, and just group after group doing it and shooting in the 100, 200 birds. That was like that. It brought me back to when I first started, where you're trying to learn as you go, and there's a lot of different things going on. And like when you make that adjustment and it works, it's such a rewarding feeling. I'd say of the dive bomb hunts, it might not look it to everyone else, but like being there and experiencing that, like that was a lot of fun. Granted, you can't beat Ranchland, but that hunt was definitely memorable to me personally.
So I'm going to kind of ask real quick without, kind of jumping over Benny here, but, so obviously we talked, I mean, you're a waterfowl hunter. And you mentioned something that we get a lot of questions about, and, obviously Dive Bomb, is, well known for decoys. They've got that, kind of on lockdown and that capability. The thing, a piece of advice you mentioned, hey, you set everything up and they weren't doing it. That's one of the things that I think, you learn as a hunter. Hey, they're just not going to do it. So what do you do? Can you kind of, I mean, go into a little bit of detail on some of the things that you look for? You mentioned the weather shift. We always like somebody to try to walk away with some knowledge, so you said the weather pattern shift and you went out, you reset. What are some things that you look for, and what are some ideas behind that as to, how you'd reset stuff for?
So, I mean, and I've learned a lot from Asher and Cody, and then obviously just trial and error. But, as a waterfowl hunter, there's things you can control and there's things you can't, period. So if the forecast is a north wind and the next day it's a west wind, there's nothing you can do. So, we try to have a game plan going into something. Scouting is important if you have the ability to do so and the access. Scout as much as you can. scout multiple days, see if birds are in one spot of the field, if they're bouncing around. You do what you can, put your time in on the front end. And that's about as much as you can control as a hunter. Doing your work before the hunt, getting a game plan together, checking the weather, doing whatever you can. That's kind of where your control stops. And then once it's the morning of the hunt, you try and execute your game plan. But the biggest thing we try to tell people, because we get that question a lot about what's the ideal spread or what's this or what's that. You gotta do what the birds are telling you to do, period, at the end of the day. Whether the weather's different or this or that, you can't just sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe they're not doing it, or, oh, the weatherman was wrong. You got to watch the birds. You got to read their body language. And I think that's something I learned a lot through trial and error. And it's taken years to learn. I still learn on every hunt. But like the birds will tell you what they like and they don't like. It's up to you to catch those signals and then to make those adjustments in a timely manner to where you can still make your adjustments, get hid, and then, take advantage of the birds following. Because they tell you pretty quick if they shortstop you or they're swinging wide or they won't finish. There's all sorts of different things you can do to adjust. And obviously, as a decoy company, we get the question or the comment a lot about the decoys. The birds are flaring on the decoys. What do we do about that? Generally, in our experience, whether it's our decoys or not, decoys don't flare birds. That's where you got to turn around and look at your hide. And I don't know, I'm sure everybody that's been on here has said the same thing, but you cannot stress enough the importance of your hide, period. If your hide is not dialed, it doesn't matter how perfect the weather is, how big the feed is, where you're at, you're not going to have a good day. So your hide has got to be as good as you can possibly make it, and then some. So, whether it's a A-frame blind or if you're hunting in water, whatever you're brushing, it needs to have a base brush, and then you've got to add to it when you get there and make it look as natural as possible. Use edges, use levees, use willows, whatever it is. But hide's important. But I mean, long story short, here I go talking, but to answer your question, the biggest thing is watch the birds and learn from the birds. The birds will tell you what they like. They'll tell you what you don't like. Some guys will watch, group after group start to come in, pitch off, flare, shortstop, whatever. And because they have interaction with those birds, they think like, oh, well, it's going to happen. Well, it's going to happen. Probably not. I mean, when you get one or two groups doing the same thing, there's something that's wrong. And you need to make that adjustment. So, and you got to do it quick. I mean, depending on where you're at, if it's a morning flight or afternoon, you generally don't have a lot of time to do that, because naturally while you're making your shift, you're going to burn some birds off anyway, if you are in an area with birds. But yeah, let the birds tell you what they want, and don't be afraid to try different things. I mean, everyone is they get caught up on trends or something they heard here or there. I found I learned the best when I was just trying different things. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I tried something that I thought at the time was stupid or off the wall and ended up being really successful. And those are still things that, I tried today. So don't be afraid to try different things. Obviously within the constraints of the law and wherever you're at, but disclaimer. But yeah,
very good.
Just experiment, if everyone around you is running big and you think that's what you have to do, maybe run a smaller spread, or maybe run a different spread, maybe run them tighter, looser, whatever it is, but just try stuff. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like I said, I learned something new on almost every hunt I go on. I will never claim to know everything or even close to it about waterfowl hunting. I just try to pick one little thing that I picked up on every hunt that I can put in the arsenal and then, try and use on hunts down the road.
I think a big part of that too, kind of going back to how Cody got this whole thing started, go to the local park and watch the birds that are sitting there. You go find a pond with, a dozen geese sitting on it, sit there, watch, listen to the sounds they're making, how they're set up. There might be 3 or 4 standing on the shore here and 2 or 3 out swimming and another group over here swimming. Don't get so sucked into the, watching a YouTube video of, oh, I've got to set, my mallards in a W formation and then have a 15-yard channel for the ducks to come and light into, and the pod of geese over. Dude, go watch a pod and see what the birds actually do, the sounds they make. Don't get so sucked into the, try to make it lifelike. It's not there is no
100%.
set answer of how to do it. So
100%. And I think, sometimes people will fall into a pattern where they have a successful hunt doing one thing. And so then they try and cookie cutter that on every hunt. And it's like, man, we just banged them up here doing this. Like, oh, they're not liking it today or whatever it is. But, every
it's 'cause
place is
2
different.
weeks
Every
ago,
day
you
is
had the
different.
same thing and you lit them
Right.
up over
Yep.
top of it.
Well, and I mean,
Ain't gonna work.
I've been guilty of it too. You set a spread
absolutely.
a certain way and just have a killer day. And I'll even go back to the same areas and hunt the same way. And it's like, man, why won't they do it today? They were in the decoys 2 days ago, and now they're passing me over here. They won't get off my left shoulder. But you just have to be dynamic. Every day is different, and you got to be willing to make those adjustments. I mean, sometimes it's hourly, especially if you're hunting a front, or you're any sort of changing weather. I mean, it can your success based on your setup can literally change by the hour. So you just got to be fluid, go with the flow. Make changes as you need to make changes. Don't be that guy that just sits in the blind like, oh, we'll get him eventually.
Yeah, well, first, that's phenomenal advice. Appreciate it for sure. Hopefully somebody will take that away. And
I hope at least one person, can learn this a little quicker than I did. It took a long time.
Yeah, we're all hard headed. Yeah, y'all are a lot younger than I am, and I can tell you, I've spent a lot of time doing the same stuff, and sometimes still do. But no, it's awesome, man. That's great advice, and one of the things that I learned, and one of the lessons I learned was, I hunt a lot of different areas. I had a lot of different states, and what's funny is I hunt in Missouri, and I hunt in Kansas, and I've hunted all over. So I think, what works in Kansas is not going to work an hour and a half west of Kansas into Missouri. It just different set of birds, different feeding patterns, everything. So it's good that you said it. It's good that, that's probably some of the best advice I think we've had on here. Is like, look, just try stuff, go out and figure it out. And it's not always going to work the same way. So good on you, man. I like that. I think that's good.
Hey, happy to help. Like I said, if one person learns something, I hope they can put it to use this year.
True hunter's mentality right there.
So with your favorite hunt being the snow goose stuff here, or back in Missouri, if you could only hunt a single species, what would it be?
Like ducks versus geese, or like species of each?
Species of duck, species of goose.
Well, I mean, I'd tell you right now, and everyone at Dive Bomb knows this. If I have to pick anything for the rest of my life, it's going to be puddle ducks. It's not even close. There's not a close second. I'm shooting puddle ducks every day, and I don't care if I ever shoot another snow goose, diver, Canada, one. Don't care. I'm a puddle duck guy through and through.
Oh, Benny, what is up with you? What is up with you people? What is up with you people?
That's what you get growing up in Missouri. There's nothing better than a freaking 4-pound mallard backpedaling at 15 yards into the flooded cornfield.
You just can't beat it.
Cannot.
And I can agree. I get it. I've been very fortunate in being able to hunt ducks all over the U.S., all over, everywhere. And it's been one of the most adventurous things I've ever done outside of the Navy, and I enjoyed it. So, but I got to tell you, man, I shoot for what tastes good now, and most of the people that I hunt with are older, and they all kind of do the same thing. If you got a spread and you've got 14 mallards sitting out there, and they might have come in with some specs, I guarantee you the people that I'm hunting with are shooting those specs before they shoot those mallards, because they taste good. So, it's a different of opinion when you get a little bit older. What am I shooting that I'm going to eat that I really, really need the freezer full at this point? So but I call those, uptown problems, right? So,
right.
But yeah, and there's people that'll sit there and shoot shoot the. I mean, if you see specks coming in with something else, don't bother. Not if you're hunting with my group. Don't bother. Everybody's shooting at those specks, guaranteed. So, but no, I can certainly agree with you on that one.
Well, and I hope I never have to make that decision because
Yeah.
I'm an equal opportunity waterfowler. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, see, you need to come up here and hunt with us.
Some whiffling Canadas, big spins of snows. It all makes me happy. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's going to be puddle ducks if I had to pick one, and I wouldn't regret it for a day.
Absolutely. I say you need to come up here and hunt with us. We get so many groups. The creek that we hunt up here in Virginia holds, for some reason, doesn't make any sense to me. It is like the only spot that holds pintails when they migrate through on the Potomac River. So we get a really good opportunity to shoot some stud bull pintails late in the season. And the guys that come out, which, I get it, they come out and they say, hey, man, the only duck I want to shoot today is a stud drake pintail. All right, have fun sitting there for 4 hours. We might get one group that comes and looks at us, whatever, cool. And then it was the next day, like the Sunday morning after that hunt, we had this group of guys that came in. They're like, man, we want to shoot anything that's legal. We're like, oh, hell yeah, this is my kind of group. Man, we shot canvasbacks, redheads, freaking ruddy ducks, buffleheads, pintails, mallards. I mean, we were shooting everything. They were trying to shoot crows. We're like, hey, all right. Easy.
Right.
We're not getting that carried away. But yeah, man, I'm the same way. I'm equal opportunity on them. Mikey was giving me crap a couple weeks ago about only shooting drakes. And we're leaving. Oh, we got a couple weeks. We're going up to Canada with a couple of our buddies up at Wild Valley Outfitters in Saskatchewan. And Mikey is giving me crap about only shooting drakes. I'm like, dude, screw that. Guiding, I get like maybe 2 personal hunts a year. And I'm going to Canada for 2 weeks. I guarantee it. If there is a mallard hen backpedaling at 20 yards, she is getting smacked. I'm not playing that game.
Hey,
he's like, no, dude.
They all look the same without their feathers,
Oh yeah, dude. They taste just as good wrapped in jalapeno and a piece of bacon on the grill.
Oh,
they taste exactly the same.
Don't forget they ban hens too.
I
saw a picture the other day on Instagram of a banded coot.
Oh God. Jesus. Why?
Gotta keep you entertained on the slow days,
Yeah. Hell yeah, you do.
So here, first of all, I'm going to add some context to this. So Benny said that, I only shoot drakes. No, what I said was I'm not going to mollywop them off the water. I give them a chance. If they're on the water, I don't shoot them. I wait till they fly and I shoot them in the air. Right.
And then you miss and then you shoot them.
Hey, that pintail's at the taxidermist right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You
so
share that story with Kyle?
Nope. I will afterwards. It's a
song for another day.
It is. It is. It's a good day. It's a good story. It was a good day. It was by far probably my favorite duck hunt on the planet, hands down. There's the public side, and then there's a private side. We'll share you the private side later. So
perfect.
No, but no, it's unique in the sense that I don't care what you shoot. If you're out there and you're having a good time and you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying the camaraderie with with the other folks in the blind, and you're providing you're just I don't know how to explain it to anybody who's not a waterfowl hunter. If you're a waterfowl hunter, you get it. But if you're out there, good on you. I don't care. I'll give you grief about it because that's my job. I'm gonna just give you absolute ever loving hell for it. But that's what the duck blind's for. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Boys become men in the duck blind for sure. You definitely learn how it goes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Benny. Just look at Benny. He's a youngin'.
Dude, hanging on by a thread.
Understandable.
And
So
we're getting ready to get into the busy time of the year.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're there. We're already there.
Oh yeah. Getting all those
What kinda-
orders shipped out.
It's gonna. I mean, it's gonna increase. Don't get me wrong, but generally, it's for us. It's literally almost like a light switch. We go from like that kind of that time where we're ramping up just a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's like a couple days, and we're going bananas again. And it's usually right around Game Fair, right between Squad Fest and Game Fair, is when things really start to pick up. And I mean, you got North Dakota's early opener. A lot of places kick off September 1. I mean, Canada's like full bore September 1. So I think once people get out of July and they see that, August is here, that's when everyone's like, oh, time to go. I put this off for the past 7 months, and now here we are. So, but yeah, we're there. Happy to be there. Obviously, it keeps us busy, but it's just a great time of year. And it's another cool thing about Dive Bomb is so many people that are working at Dive Bomb are hunters too. So it's not like we're just excited because we're, shipping more orders. Like, we're excited because we're ready to go hunt. Like, we're just like everyone else. We've been sitting here scratching for months, waiting to get out in the dove field or something.
hell yeah.
Something other than clay targets.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So I got a question about Dive Bomb. Obviously, you got some. I would hope that you have some hunts scheduled. Any of them any hunt I look forward to, but are there any ones that kind of stand out for you for, whether it's through Dive Bomb or personal hunts that you're looking forward to this year?
Well, we're going back up to Canada, going back up to ranch land. Promised Land's actually it's a branch off of ranch land, and I'm ready. I remember last year before we went, because I hadn't hunted in Canada before. Before we went, I told Cody, I said, this might ruin me for the season, and he goes, no, it's going to ruin you for life.
Yeah.
And we got back from a week of just pure bliss, and I vowed to myself then, every year that I was able to go to Canada, I'm going back. And then, here we are. I didn't have to schedule too hard. We're going back up there this year. So I'm really looking forward to that one. It's pretty tough to beat, man. I mean, from an equal opportunity waterfowler like myself, I mean, you're shooting everything. I literally had a triple last year, which is rare for me. But in one volley, I shot a pintail, a speck, and a snow. 3 consecutive shots. It's like, where else can you do that? Literally. I mean, I've had some incredible hunts, in Missouri and Arkansas and all these cool places. Never has that even been in the realm of possibility. And there were multiple guys in our group that did it up there. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like ordering off a menu. You tell them what you want to go hunt, and you're going to go kill them. Period. It's too good.
Well, Benny and I are, like he mentioned earlier, we're headed to Canada this year, and we're going to spend 2 weeks up there because somebody from Wild Valley Outfitters thought it was a great idea to invite me and Benny up there. Well, we're working too, so this will be my first trip to Canada, and first trip duck hunting to Canada, or waterfowl, I guess, and I am totally stoked about it, 100%, first and foremost. But, the people don't get it. I mean, like I thought, and I tell everybody, I thought, Kansas was the promised land. I mean, somebody clicked their ruby red slippers, and, I'm not in Kansas, and I'm not in Virginia anymore. I'm in Kansas. Holy Jesus. It's the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I mean, you said, I tell people a lot about that. It's like, you're sitting in this podunk little blind that you're putting on over a cow pond, and, you throw some decoys out and it's cold and everybody's, giving everybody grief, and, give it a couple calls and somebody says, all right, shoot them, boys. And you stand up and there's nothing but greenheads in front of you. I mean, and it's almost not even fair, And so I think, that was always my promised land, but everybody keeps telling me about Canada. So they're like, And I've seen the videos. I've seen y'all's videos, and it's like, dude, how do you come back from something like that? So, ruined for life.
With a wish list of times you're gonna go back. I mean, that's really the only way. It's so good. I mean, it really is so good. And you'll see once you get through it, you'll see you can't even put it into words. It's unbelievable.
So obviously you're going to Canada. What do you shoot? What's your gun of choice, and what's your shell of choice?
So I'm a pretty big Beretta fan, which to all the Benelli guys, don't freak out. They're made by the same company, just a different system. So I have a Stoger, I have Benellis, I have Berettas. It just my go-to, out in the field is going to be a Beretta. And as far as shells, I'm really not too picky about shells. I came from a competitive shotgun shooting background, and I learned pretty quick there that shells make a little bit of a difference, but a lot of it comes down to the person shooting, and then also how they've got their gun set up and what load selection and stuff like that. So as far as different manufacturers or anything, I kind of shoot whatever I can get my hands on, and these days, unfortunately, that's about what most people can do. It's hard to.
It ain't much.
You bet. I'll tell you this is my pro tip for the day. Now's the time to get on the ordering and stuff, because you don't want to be that guy, which was me last year, who's run out of shells halfway through the season, and now you're scrambling to try and reload. It's not going to be good. But yeah, I shoot my Beretta. As far as shells, I normally shoot number 4s in steel. I usually go a little bit smaller shot size than most guys do, just because I'm a pellet guy, not an energy guy. But and then tungsten's better than everything else out there. But props to you if you can afford to shoot.
Open up that credit card and run that check.
That's right. That's right. You're gonna have
for a case.
Have to ration your shells. Could bring 10 shells to the blind, and that's it. No 2 boxes or anything.
And don't miss.
Yeah, don't.
I have to say though, that's what I had a case of those last year. The heavy 12s, I got them at Rogers, where it was like $600, and it came with a free Avian X decoy and a whole bunch of other crap. And I think they were 3-inch 6s of the heavy 12.
Nasty.
They were the nastiest damn shells I've ever put through my gun. I mean, rolling up, I remember the first hunt I took them out, we had a group of geese come up, and I was like, oh, well, they say 6s hit like 2s in tungsten and blah, 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 or whatever. Like, well, I don't know. Screw it. I guess we'll give it a try. And pulled up, squeezed the trigger, first one dusted. And I was like, huh, well, that worked. Where's the second one at? Boom! Folded that one. I was like, huh, well, these work pretty damn good. Yeah. And then the problem is guiding, and then you go out and you're cleaning up people's crippleds with a $4 shotgun shell. Yeah, it gets old real fast.
Yeah, no.
I feel like tungsten's kind of it's the double-edged sword if you shoot it, because it is so effective. It is a great cripple load, because you don't have to worry about shooting 3 or 4 times. It's great for cripples.
Yeah.
And it has tremendous, stopping power at range, and, it maintains its energy. But the problem is, like, they cost so much. You're not going to take that 60-yard crossing shot. Like you said, make sure you don't miss. I think that's everyone's mentality with tungsten. Yeah. So then they're shooting them at 20 yards in the decoys, and then there's, at that point you can kill them with anything. So it's like to really get the benefit of tungsten, you got to be willing to sling some dollars out there, and get your money's worth, unfortunately. But
you got to let them rip
it's pretty good stuff.
No, you don't have to let them rip every once in a while. When you get older, I'll tell you some advice, some old pro tip advice. I go with feet per second now, just because, and this is why is your reaction time as an older human being is slower. It just happens. Y'all don't get that yet, but you will. So your reaction time's a little bit slower. And if I can make that up in feet per second, I'll take it. I mean, those old nitros, I shot those for years. Of course, I had a gun that could handle them, but
don't put those in a semi-auto.
Yeah, they stopped. I shot those at an 870 Express, man. Those things are the greatest thing ever. But I mean, they were 1700 feet per
I think
second.
Yeah, something like that.
1700 was the hypersonics. Yeah.
Yeah, hypersonics.
Yeah,
That's what it
hypersonics.
was. Yeah. And I shot those going out of style just because, and they were breaking people's guns and, all that other stuff. And I get it, but I go for feet per second. And if I can shoot tungsten, great. But I look at feet per second. And it's just the fact of getting old. My eyes aren't nearly as good as what young men's eyes are or young women's eyes are. So, I got to make up for it somewhere. And that's where I make up for it. So.
I'm the opposite. I like to go as slow as possible. I like that. I like that hotter core. I like that pattern that it might not get there as quick, but if it does, it hits like a bowling ball.
I get that.
And that's just the background I came from in shooting too. That was always the old mantra, right? Was if you want something to pattern better, you got to slow it down. So,
Yep.
And I still shoot that way. Plus, when you go to Canada and you shoot cases and cases of shells, the difference between 1550 and 1350 is you start to feel it over a week of doing that. So, but no, I think the biggest issue with ammunition is a lot of guys sweat details that I think are insignificant relative to where their issues are. So it's like any other hobby, if you're into it enough, the mental game is going to overtake where you're at. So generally just about anything you use is going to get the job done.
Well, and that's the other side of that. Some people just like to have an excuse as to why they missed because it couldn't be the operator's problem.
Some people can't be. And hey, you know what? If there's something that you can use, especially shooting related, that gives you more confidence, great. I mean, confidence is key. So if you think that choke is better for you and your gun and that load, then by all means use it. I mean, because the last thing you want to do is be behind the gun, pulling up on a duck, backpedaling over the decoys and thinking about your gun or your shells. That's the last thing you need. So whatever makes you confident and works for you, then by all means. There's no reason. A lot of people like to argue over it, but I guess that means they're just, everything else in life is good. So that's all they have to argue about. So.
Spoken like a true target shooter right there. So real quick, we kind of ventured off of dive bomb area, but so I wanted to get back to that. And so within reason, what can you tell us? What's coming out that's new? What's something that's, that you think people should be really focused on from your gear and your equipment? What's your top three this year? What should you think should be in everybody's duck blind this year?
So a big one, and this isn't really new info, but we haven't, the public hasn't had them yet. But the snow full bodies that are going to be coming out, they're on the website right now. You can look at the listing. We obviously don't have them up for sale yet, but
I did.
I really like the snow full bodies. Man, they look great, and the cone system is so easy and bulletproof. I mean, you could almost like just throw one on a stake. The stakes are nice. So again, not new, but I am really excited for those. Our tech line is expanding. I mean, our offerings already. We just released the soft shell jacket this week.
I saw.
But there's a lot more coming from that tech line down the road, and it's a lot of stuff that I'm really excited for. If you were at Squad Fest or seen some of the posts, we've got the airweight onesie coming out, which I saw some comments that were like, is this an April Fool's joke? No, it's real. And it's honestly the piece that I'm probably most excited about just because it's going to be awesome. I'm so pumped to have that onesie. I'm going to have one in every color for every day of the week. I mean, you can deer hunt in it. You can walk around camp in it. It's a perfect layering system for waders and any waterfowl hunter, field hunters, whether you're wearing bibs, whatever. I mean, that thing is going to be sick. So I'm pumped for the onesie. a lot of different tech line things to look for next year. Another big one, obviously, that we've teased before, but our waders. I'm really excited for our waders. I've got a prototype that I ran, and we've obviously made some additions from that. Saw a new sample come in recently with more of the cosmetic finishes kind of touched up, and they're going to be so sick. Cody and the guys put a lot of time into trying to make and think of everything possible. I mean, at the end of the day, a wader's a wader, but there are little things that I think we've added that are really going to make the user friendliness next level. Comfort's going to be great, and obviously at the end of the day, function's big. So they're still going to be waders. They're still going to be, durable, good pair waders. I'm really excited for those. The only thing I don't know on those is time frame. Unfortunately, I wish there was a date.
That's what I was going to ask.
I know we're still, as of this recording, we're still shooting for this year, but that's one of the only things I think consumers on the outside don't understand from a product development standpoint is how much thought and time go into these things, and it is rare that you get it right the first time. So when you make those changes, it takes time to make those changes. And in some cases, depending on the magnitude of the change, you're talking like retooling, and that's not a fast process at all. So, we try and get these things out as fast as we can, especially with a seasonal business. We try and get them out in a timely manner. But at the end of the day, Cody's never going to sacrifice quality for a time frame, and so we're shooting for at some point this season. But if it doesn't happen, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth the wait. So I think that'd be my kind of watch list right now would be for that. And decoy wise too, we do have the diver floaters are going to be hitting the market here not too long. And I know that we've had a ton of guys, especially coastal guys, that are like chomping at the bit to get those. So we kind of had them teased out at Squad Fest. They were in our floater pool and had a lot of good comments on them. So those are going to be cool. I don't know that I'll use them a ton just because we're not shooting a lot of divers here, but I know a lot of people have been waiting for them. So
somebody needs to tell Uncle Trav.
Dude, what do you mean? The freaking foam-filled, rattling. Dude, they're fine. You take the old redhead and drill a hole in it and shove some expanding foam up in it. She'll be bulletproof for a couple of years.
And I feel bad. I feel bad though, because like Travis is a guy, he's Benny's boss and a good friend of ours. He's been on the podcast several times, runs Ramrod Outfitters, and he's a partner with Wild Valley Outfitters as well, the folks we're going to Canada with. And he I've seen the insides of guide service and things like that, but man, I've never seen so many people shoot his damn decoys in my life. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, dude, why are you shooting it? Don't shoot the decoys. Don't shoot the decoys. Then you see Benny get pissed.
Dude, the worst is the damn bluebills, because the bluebills would come in freaking 2 foot off the water at 60 mile an hour through the decoy spread, and everyone's shooting 15 feet behind them and just smoking those decoys on the end of the long lines. It's like, dude, stop. No, don't do that. It's like, come on. You couldn't have picked a worse place to shoot.
Unfortunately, I'm sure it comes with the territory, because it's I guess that's why they're paying a guide, They don't want to do it themselves, but
good old diver hunting,
Yeah. I will say that's another beauty of the hunting puddle ducks. They tend to be a little more gentle with their nice slow entry, coming down from above you instead of just screaming across the top of your decoys. So that's appreciated.
You're saying that they look cooler. I get it.
They look cooler. You got a lot more time to appreciate, a nice big green head coming in, as opposed to some jacks or something just cruising wingtips off the water. Then at that point, everyone's just like throwing their guns out trying to hit them.
Everyone's scrambling and freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, it's funny, she didn't grow up hunting and fishing, and she's been adopted into this and all in, which is really cool. I tell her, hey, like Benny and I are going alligator hunting. When are we leaving? Wednesday. You're leaving Wednesday. I'm leaving
Like
Tuesday.
4
So
days.
next week. And then we're going to Canada, and then I'm going to, I get a chance to go out to Nebraska, and my wife is like, absolutely, man, this is just the coolest thing ever. So I got her waterfowl hunting, and the first duck she smokes is a freaking, is this bufflehead going 100 miles an hour like a freaking missile, and she just smokes them. I'm like, all right, don't piss her off. Got it. Check. Got that one down. Don't
She's got it.
Yeah, gonna run. You're gonna die tired. I get it. So, all right, Benny, where are we at, sir?
We're getting right up to our time.
All right.
We're doing great.
Awesome. So a couple of things, that I'll finish up, and then obviously Benny will take us home. But a couple of things. How do people find you? I mean, not like we have to do that, but we always give
right. Hey, we
how do people
appreciate
find
it.
you?
We appreciate it.
Where do they find you? How do they find you? And things like that.
So obviously, they can head to the website, which is just divebombindustries.com. Obviously, we've got our YouTube channel, which as of tonight hit 100,000 subscribers. So we're proud of that.
Yeah.
And any subscribers watching, thank you. We do appreciate it. We appreciate all the support. So you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, all the socials. And then, my world, customer service, if you ever need to get a hold of us, it's info@divebombindustries.com for the email. And then we have a text and phone line, which is 314-501-2747. So you can call us, text us, email us, DM us, whatever you need to do. So, but that's how you find us. And we've got a lot out there now, and trust me, we've got so much more coming. I mean, the next 2-3 years are going to be so exciting at Dive Bomb. I'm happy I landed here when I did, for sure.
I can tell you, man, I look at it every day. You say the next 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 years, I look at it and I'm like, oh, hunting season right there. I got to go to Dive Bomb. What do I want? What am I going to get? What can I get away with? What will my wife not notice that I bought? So
we do take cash in the showroom,
Oh, look at that.
Those ghost purchases taken care of.
I need y'all to I'd pay like an extra fee so it doesn't come up as Dive Bomb Industry. If you could do that on my credit card statement, we'd be great. No.
Modify that gateway, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm good. So again, you talked about, the onesie, I think is going to be really cool. I'm excited. I like easy things, so that's going to be pretty cool. And definitely the waders. I think that's going to be a game changer for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm super stoked about that. But more importantly, man, I love the logo. I got to tell you that. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I love the logo, and that's how I found y'all the first time. I was like, one of the guides that were taking us out had some stickers on there, and I'm like, what is that sticker? And he goes, oh, it was out in Kansas. Oh, that's Dive Bomb. It's what? It's like, oh, that's Dive Bomb. So, and it, you weren't, this was a number of years ago. And I was like, who are they? Oh, they make decoys, man. You got to check them out. And I'm hooked ever since. So, but the products are solid. Once I got hooked, it's not like you make a bad product. So,
we try not to.
Yeah, you don't. I haven't seen one yet. So,
well, if we do, we're lucky to have a very loyal customer base that lets us know quickly what they think needs to change. And that's one thing we do pride ourselves on is it's customer driven. When people want it, we're going to make it. When people don't like something, we're going to change it. We're going to update it. We're going to fix it. So, I mean, it really has been, especially being a direct to consumer company, our customers have got us to this point, and they really are the driving force behind the innovation and everything that comes out of Dive Bomb. So, the more people we can get on board with the brand, the more inspiration we're going to have for products down the line. So we really are very appreciative of the support that we've gotten up to this point.
Well, I can speak for myself. I'm definitely a loyal fan, and your products are excellent. I mean, not just saying it. Phenomenal products. We wouldn't have brought you. We wouldn't have asked you to come on if we didn't think it was a solid product. But But more importantly, we're really glad that you came on today for sure. So even though you are a Missouri kid,
hey, always will be. You know, you're welcome. You're welcome to come down and shoot some big old Missouri greenheads in the corn anytime you want.
I've been there. I might take you up on that offer. So
come on down.
All right, Benny, where are we at, sir?
Oh, we just broke an hour, dude. You were at like an hour and 1 second when you said that.
Oh, look at there.
You're getting back into the groove of this thing.
Dude, that clock is just on point.
It's something magical.
Benny swears up and down I'm sitting here watching the clock, and I'm not. It's just, we've done this enough. It's like, hey, we're getting there. I think we're about there. And I was off for a couple of podcasts. I mean, like really off. So
I say there was a couple you were like, so where are we at? I'm like 23 minutes. And you're like, oh.
It was bad. It was really bad.
That's like that Monday at work when you look at the clock 5 times and it's been 4 minutes. And you're just like, how is this possible?
Oh, yeah. You just sit there like, please just let me get through the next minute.
Right. I just got to get to lunch. And then it's like, you make it to 10 and it feels like it's been 4 hours. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what Benny and I were joking about. Today was just I had to apologize at work. And if you know me, I don't apologize for much, but I had to apologize at work. So should tell you how my work day went. It wasn't a great day. So
it's Friday though. At least you made it through.
That's it. Now I can we can go do some great things, and Benny had a good accomplishment under his belt, so that's even better.
Yeah.
Big one. I feel small now. I was tired from laboring at the office, and you're over here just knocking out the crucible real quick.
That's all right.
Job,
we went and got to hang out in the conference room after we got our certs and everything today. So it was a good day.
Nice.
Yeah. Congrats, Benny.
Thank you. Well, I think it about does it. Hey, Mikey, you got any questions?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Right on. Well, Kyle, thank you so much again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and glad we were able to work it out. And it's I love it. I watched some of you guys' stuff a while back, so I was like, dang, all right.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Hey, we'll get you there.
I like that.
Hey, we're getting close to like 1,500. All right, we might break 1,500 this week.
Hey, so. Cody, like I said, Cody really started about 2009, and 2017 is when it went from here to like that. I mean, overnight, and it was some creative marketing and a lot of perseverance for sure. I'll give Cody one thing. He is not ever, you won't back him off anything. If he sets his mind to something, he's going to get it done. And he was not, once he sold all of those things on Craigslist and was like, hey, there's an idea here, he was not coming off of that. He was going to make it happen. I'm glad he did, because now I have a job. So
a job that you like too, right?
Yes, exactly right.
That's even better.
All right, Benny. Fellas. Kyle, thanks again, brother. Stay in touch, and we'll get in touch with you when we get all this stuff uploaded. And other than that, have fun in Canada. Send me some pile pictures of those Missouri mallards.
Hey, we will. You guys have fun in Canada, especially if it's your first time shooting them up there. Enjoy every minute of it, because it's unlike anything you're going to experience. You're going to be like me. You're going to be like, well, I'm going to have to start budgeting for this every year.
Yeah. Yeah, I say I'm going to have to come back and guide in Virginia, so I'm going to be real salty when I get back. But
well, when we got back last year, because we went later season for them, when we got back last year, we were a week away from Missouri opener, and all the guys that went were like,
I don't even want to.
We might have a good opener, but it's not going to be, Canada good. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's especially like you said, you've got to hunt all over the place, so it's fun to just add different topography, terrain. I mean, even different calling styles.
Something to learn.
I mean, I used to help a buddy guide in Southeast Missouri, and just from how we hunt up here around St. Louis to the Boot Heel to Reelfoot, it's like you're hunting totally different ducks, and it's all the same birds, different styles, different everything. It's cool to just see different places do it.
For sure. And that's the one part, you learn so much from it. But to see, literally we've hunted in places in Kansas that, there's 35 miles difference between where we hunted at one to the other, and the birds are completely different. And you just, it's amazing. So
It's fun.
I love
Enjoy it.
Ate up with it, right?
Hell yeah. I could have had a chess addiction and had a whole lot more money, but it is what it is. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I like that. I wouldn't either.
Well, right on, boys. Mikey, anything else?
No, sir. Thanks for spending the time with us. Appreciate you, Benny.
Right on, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks again, Kyle.
Thank you for having me, guys. Have a good one.
Right on. See ya.
You've been listening to The Hunting Quest. No matter how crazy, high-tech, or lazy the rest of the country gets, we will always be hunting and fishing. If that's you, you've found your new family. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. Reach out to us by email at info@thehuntingquest.com. And check us out on Instagram and YouTube at The Hunting Quest. See you next time.